Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to make some truly creepy paper flowers. We're going to be doing a very simple technique to make paper roses that you might even be familiar with, but we're going to amend it slightly and throw some eyeballs in there to make it truly spooky and appropriate for Halloween time. All right, so let's get started. All right, so what you're going to need if you're going to be making a creepy flower is you're going to want four square pieces of paper. This is a little bit smaller than origami paper, but it doesn't really matter on the size. You're going to need some white glue of some kind. You're going to need a toothpick, some scissors, a pencil, and something to use as your stem. I'm using a paper wrapped floral wire stem myself. You could use a pipe cleaner or something else like that. For your eyeball, probably the easiest thing to do is pop over to a Dollar Tree this time of year, get some fake eyeballs, and then you can hot glue it in after you make your flower. However, I did not have those, so instead I got some of these glass gems here called cabochons, and they're flat on one side, rounded on the other. And then I got some of these printable irises. I printed them from the hauntinggrounds.com. Under their prop eyes tutorial. They offer these for free in a lot of different colors. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take just one of our squares of paper. I'm gonna arrange this so it's like a diamond in my perspective. I'm gonna take one of these corners here and match it up with this top one here. Go ahead and crease that, make it nice and neat. Now we're going to fold this corner so it meets this corner. And then once more with feeling, we're gonna take this corner here, we're gonna move it up to this upper corner here. It's our last fold here. And then what we're gonna do, and this might be a little hard to see on my black paper, but you could either freehand it with some scissors or you can take a pencil and you're gonna draw a half circle shape up on this edge here. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but I've drawn a half circle around here. And I'm gonna take my scissors and cut it, that shape out. So it's very important when you're cutting this that we're leaving the majority of this edge intact because this is our folded edge. If we cut through this entire side, we're just gonna have little bits and pieces of paper. So now we got this pointy bit here and we've got this rounded bit on top. And then down here at this end, the pointy end, we're just going to make a tiny snip, not a big one. So just a tiny little scrap of paper there. I'm gonna move that out of the way. And you're gonna do that same procedure with your other three pieces of paper. In the interest of time, I've already pre-cut out 3 more of these. These are going to be our petal shapes. So let's go ahead and unfold these. So when you look at these are making 8 petaled shapes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's where I'm getting that from, but there's 4 of them total. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna cut these in a particular pattern. So with my first one here, I'm going to look at this and I'm gonna find one petal shape. So in this case, it's right here, because that's where the folds are. And I'm gonna cut directly on those folds and just cut one petal shape out. So you see that I've got one little petal here. Now when I count the petals on this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we'll set these to the side. Then this next one here, I'm gonna cut 2 shapes, 2 petals out. So now I've got 2 and 6. As you might expect, I'm gonna cut 3 out of here. And this one, we're gonna cut just directly in half. So we've got 4 and 4. So when I rearrange these, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4, 5, 6, 7 of my petal shapes. We're actually gonna take one of these 4s and set it to the side. We could use that on a future flower. I'm actually gonna set aside this one here, the 1 and the 2. These will actually be in our way when we go to glue the eyeball in. So now we've got the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 shapes left. So then the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to start gluing these so that they start forming the layers of our petals. So what that looks like is we start with our number 3 here. And we fold this over like so without putting any glue on. See how we've got this nice little cylinder kind of shape with some rounded petals? That's going to be our first petal layer. So we're going to go ahead and put some glue on one of these edges here. Just a thin layer. We don't want to glob it on there. We're going to gently overlap those two and leave those to dry. So we're going to go ahead and do that with our other layers. So we're probably going to speed up this next bit here. Okay, so as you can see, we've got these 5 ascending layers of petals now. However, the problem is they don't really look much like petals right now. As you can see, these are all nice and curly. So that's where the toothpick comes in, is we're gonna do this process of, we're gonna take our toothpick, we're gonna put it on the edge of one of our petals, and we're going to gently curl it around the toothpick, gently rolling down. And then, as you can see, we've kind of reached the base of that petal. If we keep going, we're gonna tear stuff, and then we're gonna uncurl that. So as you can see, we've got this nice, lovely curl now to our petal, which makes it look a lot more realistic. And then we will do that to all of the petals. They look really good. I love how easy it is. It's like you don't need a special type of paper or a special type of glue or anything. It's just, once I finish curling these, you just sandwich them on top of each other. And that's literally all it is. And I'm like, that's pretty magical. I would say the most laborious part is this part, is the curling of the petals. I mean, it's not that difficult to do, it's just time consuming, but it really makes them look real. Okay, wonderful. You've curled all of your petals, so they're nice and realistic looking now. So we're gonna take our largest layer first, and we're gonna slide it onto our wire stem here. It's gonna be kind of floppy, but don't worry, it'll get sorted out. And then we are gonna take our glue, and we're gonna just put a thin layer on the very inner portion of the flower. Then we're gonna take our next largest layer, and we are gonna slide that on down so that it is nesting on top of there. And we're gonna just keep repeating this process, moving down the flower. So put some more glue. So the assembly is actually quite simple. And if you run into the same problem I have, where sometimes you rolled it a little too tight, so even if you cut the end off, there's the hole at the center of the flower is not really big enough, just go ahead and take your scissors and give it a little snip, and you can keep going. And as you assemble your layers, just be sure to go ahead and squish them periodically. Make sure that they're staying where they're supposed to. Okay, so we're sliding on our last layer now. And so when you look down inside of here, we've got this nice rose shape with all of our petals kind of nestled inside of each other. The trick of it is, though, this is still very loose on our stem. So here's my tip, especially if you're working with anything with a wire core, like a pipe cleaner or this, go ahead and just bend over the top of it to make this nice little loop here. You don't want it to be too big. And then we're gonna put glue down on the very interior of our flower. And what's gonna happen is when we pull this down, this loop is gonna stop it from being able to go down further. And bonus, it's giving the glue that we've put on the inside a nice little surface area to stick to. So, and you might say, well, okay, but now I've got this big ugly loop inside of my flower that everyone can see. Don't worry, that's what the eyeball is for. That and making it creepy. If you're going your Dollar Tree route for your eyeballs, just go ahead and buy some that are the right size from the store, pop some hot glue in there, or whatever kind of glue will make it stick, and you're done. However, if you're going my route with the cabochons, these glass gems, and the printable irises, very simple. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out one of these irises. It's okay if it's bigger. I really recommend Mod Podge for this, and the reason for that is because it's gonna dry clear. So versus other glues are not necessarily gonna do that really nicely. Go ahead and coat your flat side of your glass gem and pop it on top. So see what I mean is this was made with Mod Podge. It is dried lovely and clear, but just a couple hours ago, it looked just like this one where it's all milky and stuff. So after that's dried, you can trim off the excess pieces like so. I don't recommend doing it while it's wet, but just for the sake of demonstration. And then you've got a nice one like this for me. So I'm gonna glue this into the very center of my flower. So this is why we've left off our inner 2 layers. Just remember, this is why we've got this nice big gaping hole. It's just for this. So I find that placing the eyeball can be a little challenging sometimes. So just stick with it and finagle it. So I've put a healthy gob of glue, very technical term, inside the interior of my flower. And I'm going to arrange this so that it is covering up my loop of wire inside. But yeah, I would recommend if you're going the white glue route, go ahead and leave this to dry for a while, but you're done. So you've got this lovely creepy flower now, and you can make a whole lovely bouquet to decorate your home this spooky season, or any time of year you're feeling like being creepy. Please be sure to go to our website, mesacountylibraries.org, to check out some crafting books that we might have for spooky season, but also be sure to check out some classic horror like Dracula, Frankenstein, or newer books by people like Grady Hendrix and other great horror writers of today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.